What is good, everybody? Happy Thursday. Man, it is very scary out there in the world of DeFi today. Hacks seems multiple every day. Migrations are continuing to ongo. Chris and I and Adam, we had a good time at Bitcoin Vegas that just wrapped up. That's where we were the last few days. And we have an exciting unicorn migration to talk about. Very unique in this aspect, helping an entire layer one relaunch on Solana. Chris, what's good?
What is good, bro? That intro gets me hyped every morning. Absolute fire. Absolute fire. Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't think it's coincidental that the uptick in hacks is right on the verge of like Mythos and how they weren't able to release it because it was like such a risk to critical internet infrastructure. And I think that they're training these LLMs to find the exploits not only in legacy internet infrastructure, but also crypto infrastructure. And so you said in the chat, it's like a new hack every day. And I think that's going to be the trend going forward for kind of a little while. But Bitcoin Vegas, fire time. Good to see the team. Met up with a bunch of people. I think we closed a couple things that we were working on. Tied up some loose ends that we were working on. And all in all, we're ready to get this thing started.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I am excited. So we have a few people on stage today. We have Unicorn Account. We have our good friend No Regrets and Brew, who is on stage. Brew, you with us?
Absolutely, man.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And then we also have a community member, No Regrets. Bro, what's good? Long time no see.
It's been a bit. Good to be on here with you.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Verdandi on the live stream says GM to you with a nice little unicorn emoji. Yeah, it's an exciting time. We had a little bit of a, I guess, an interesting announcement with the migration. Was deleted, then came back. We've got the community. So if there's anyone who has questions from the unicorn community, feel free to hop on the live stream or hop into the chat, or honestly, even just post in the replies. If you're on Spaces in the bottom right hand corner, there's a little comment button. You go ahead and just post questions there. I know there's always a bunch. And I've actually been getting a lot of questions about different NFTs maybe, or coins that are on the Unicorn chain, asking if they're going to be migrating. So we'll try to dive into all of the questions that everybody has received about this migration. But first and foremost, I'll pass it off to either of you, either Brew or No Regrets. I want to know a little bit of the backstory of Unicorn and Memes and the entire chain. How did we get to where we are today?
Brew, you want to go and take that one first?
Sure. Well, it started in January in 2024 with an airdrop for some Atom stakers and Celestia stakers. And then it's just slowly snowballed into more and more airdrops for favela coins, as we call them, like literally the shittiest of shit coins and illiquid NFTs. And it rolled out in epochs over, I think, maybe 6 months or something. And in total, the unicorn ended up airdropping 620 different communities across the entire Cosmos ecosystem, so multiple chains there, across Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, Base, I think also, multiple EVMs. And yeah, after that, an emoji market opened up and a bunch of us were trading on this single validated chain with no bridge. So the only way to get on was either the airdrop. So you had to connect your Bitcoin wallet, Ethereum wallet, whatever wallet, to this super dodgy, flashy website filled with anime girls gifs. And if you had the balls to do that and claim the airdrop,
here's the story about a little guy.
Oh, that's cool, no problem. I knew exactly what was happening. Yeah, it was a great win and play on there. Unicorn.me, go and have a look.
Yeah,
But yeah, create the fucking emojis on there. Everybody was having fun. Some people OTC'd Solana Ubu onto the chain through untrustworthy channels. And one day it all just disappeared. The single validator shut off. Everything just went gone. The unicorn account went silent for a year. And yeah, here we are now. Just like a quick rundown.
Oh, I appreciate that. On the website itself, it reminds me of like the early internet, like late 90s, early 2000s for sure.
I think that's why it was so attractive to a lot of people. And like Guru was saying, it was an effort to bring multiple chains, cross chains, communities together, and the ability to have, OTC to get onto the chain. The whole idea, kind of how we refer to it as the synergy. A lot of folks that were participating and were active in the bear market in, I guess, after middle of 2022 into 2023, they were rewarded for staying around and not being a tourist. I would also say, Jake, and I know a lot of other people are listening, but the emoji market was some of the most fun I've had in crypto in years. Just trading emojis. You probably saw there were some releases of emojis on Solana, vamping and this and that, but just the interface itself. And then additionally, there's other tools that spawned. UWU Pro was very cool to trade on. There was also a black market emoji situation. So it's been an interesting project to be a part of. I personally haven't seen anything like the distribution mechanism utilized in a long time in the space in general.
Man, can you explain more about what these memojis are? I've actually gotten, myself personally, and the Migrate Fun account has gotten at least 5 DMs about people asking if the memojis are migrating or what to do with them.
They're not going to be. Basically, it's just what you imagine, emojis, but in the whole concept of just trading them, there was corn, there was Taiwan, there was China, there was Pi. I think we got Nightcar finally summoned as well. So just, it's kind of like just laughing in the face of the space at how ridiculous, but it was a really good time, and it was super.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. It was like a nostalgic fucking flashback of the early DeFi space, right? You had no clue what's going on, but it was exciting. It felt like intrinsic value. You were having fun. Fractions were starting to form, and those fractions started to ride the culture of the place, because it was a sandbox with no rules, basically. It was just some tools laid out in the sand, and then the kids could have fun. It was amazing, man. It reminded me of like the ethos of, or not the ethos, but like the feeling of cypherpunk that was written in the early Bitcoin white paper. Kind of had those vibes.
Yeah, it's so funny. We were just at Bitcoin Vegas. We were talking with somebody about yams and the early DeFi era of just all the different Ponzi's, but it was so much fun at the time. And so I can see this being something similar. I mean, 600 airdrops, right? That's no little amount. Do we know like what?
Yeah, 620 airdrops, and the total of 52,000 wallets was created.
Yeah, and this is across Solana, Ethereum. I see Base. There's NFTs. There's ERC20 tokens, SPL tokens.
Yep.
A very exciting time. So, I guess we fast forward to kind of where we are today. So Unicorn, right? It was built on Cosmos. Cosmos is kind of down pretty bad. You said that the nodes just shot off randomly. So is this a node?
Yeah, one validator.
Is this the validator on Cosmos that was essentially the one that was validating the blocks went away?
Yeah. So every chain, every proof of stake chains has validators, right, to running and validating the blocks, as you said. And you want to have a lot of validators running. So if one shuts down, the chain doesn't die, right? And you can ensure consensus and no double spending, yada yada, all this, right? If there's only one validator, then the person who controls the validator actually controls everybody's funds, because he can just rewrite balances and do whatever he wants. So the whole idea of being on a single validator chain is fucking retarded. It's very fun.
Yeah, but even that was sort of tongue in cheek with, I'm sure you guys know there's a lot of organizations that run a lot of validators, and there's validator cabal. So
Exactly.
Is it any different really if, an organization has the resources to, run 50, 60% of the validators? Is that really any different than just a single validator? So
That's exactly, I think that's a good point. I don't think many people knows it, but at the peak of Cosmos, like 80% of all the validators was run in the same data centers. So a data center that just rented out hardware, right? So validator firms would just run or rent the hardware from a data center. So it was super centralized, but on the surface, it looks decentralized.
Yeah, it makes sense. So then, you guys reached out to us, or I guess you could say, going along with the story, the validator shuts down, everyone's tokens are essentially lost, but some of the tokens are actually have been bridged over to various ecosystems. And it seems like the most liquid one is on Solana. So essentially the community has slowly just migrated over to Solana because that's where the liquidity of the token exists. Does that sound right?
Yeah, mostly. So
Yeah.
in the height of the Memoji market, people were, or maybe in the height or in the middle of the Memoji market, people were given a choice to do a clawback claim on the unclaimed UVU airdrop tokens for the chain, and you could either get them on chain or you could get them on Solana. And with that clawback on Solana, the biggest liquidity pool was created, the one that you guys are going to migrate. And since that was the biggest one, the community formed there when the chain was going, right?
I mean, it's a perfect fit. It's where memes kind of are today within Solana ecosystem. And it's just where most of the transactional activity across the industry has moved to today. So then where we sit today, as this migration has been announced, I guess you'd say the Unicorn chain is somewhat of in a CTO situation, more than
Yes.
the founding team has, right, still kind of operates it. So it's kind of a CTO cross chain full migration from a literal blockchain to Solana in this sense. Take us through, the thoughts of deciding to keep this alive, trying to hoard the unicorn holders to then migrate, and I guess you're going to say probably the month-long adventure that's beginning today, where the migration starts in 2 weeks. Then you have a 2-week migration plus the kind of claim period. So this is a big initiative that's going to take place over the next 1 to 2 months.
It's
Yeah.
a drop in. It's like a drop in the sea, in the ocean of UVU lore, right? So 1 year of islands overall, like 3 years experiments or 2.5 years experiment, right? So getting closure is, or at least giving some sort of finality on this huge block of law, right, is fantastic. Sorry, no regrets. I didn't want to cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say, yeah, like you're saying, it's been going for over 2 years now, getting some finality, but the community has stayed remarkably active. I recall the tweets. I keep having to hear about this dead token every single day, but we keep talking about it because the whole ethos, going back to what I was saying earlier, the distribution method. I'm a big counterparty guy, Jake. You know that. I thought that the creation of XCP was very novel, and it's been around for 10 years, actually 12, I think. But with UVU distributing, like I said, to people that were active during the bear market, and then along with that, there's sort of been, and Ruru, I don't know if you covered this, but we were given sort of a choice. I think it was late 2024, maybe, about distillation. I can't remember exactly when. Being able to take your tokens off of UVU. After that,
Yes.
okay.
So that was December or November 25, I think. You're talking
it-
about the bridge, right, or the
Yeah, but
clawback?
yeah, I suppose. So we've all kind of been not really sure what's going on, but we've all been vibing,
Sorry,
having a great
24.
time.
Sorry, I apologize.
Just in general, as a community, it's been fun to continue. One point to make here, and I think it's important to share for anyone who's listening. Obviously, we're very excited to work with Migrate.fund, Emblem. Jake, I know you and the team. You guys do great work. For folks that have their UVU on the Unicorn chain, that is going to be moved over manually by the team. For folks that have their tokens on Solana, they will need to work with Migrate.fund. But the most important part here is we really need to mobilize and get at least 70% moved over. So everyone's got friends. Everyone's probably got friends that dropped off. I have some friends that I got into Unicorn that they haven't thought about it in forever. But it's really, really important if this is going to be successful that we get the word out. We do have time, but I think it can bring a lot of people back because that for me, it was the most fun that I've had in crypto in a really long time. And with everything going on, market chop, war, this, and tariffs, and I think it could be like an amazing rebirth, and people are seeking something fun in the space again.
Yeah, and we're happy to take on this initiative. There's some kind of unique components to it. One being that it was a former layer 1 blockchain with a supply of 69 billion, but only 15 billion roughly have been bridged over to Solana. I think there's some other supply that exists across some other EVM chains that are going to have to migrate over. Currently, there's roughly 6,000 holders on Solana that are eligible to migrate, and a pretty deep liquidity pool, $300,000 liquidity pool at a 600K market cap. And then you guys
It's
will be
impressive, right?
It is, yeah, it is pretty impressive. And then it just shows the amount of frequency of trading history over the past 1 year.
And also the dedication of the dev.
Yeah,
He seeded very deep. Like, hats off to that guy.
Crushing it.
yeah, hats off to the dev. So basically, I'm going to dive through kind of the rough idea here for those that are just kind of listening who've sent out the questions. So the supply overall, 69 billion, right? That's reflective of the UWU issuance on the Unicorn chain. But there's 15 billion that's been bridged. Say maybe 16 billion if you include the other tokens or such across the other chain or other bridge chains. Basically, we're going to be migrating to Pump. So the ratio is actually going to be reflective of 69 to 1 versus 15 to 1. So what that means is you'll migrate one of your UWU from Solana over. You have to migrate 69 to get 1, right? Because you're moving down to a supply of 1 billion. And then that excess UWU token, so think of it of the people who had their tokens not on Solana, but anywhere else, that supply, so roughly, what is that, 50 billion or so tokens?
So just to make it clear, yeah, there's around 15 billion on Solana.
Yep.
And there is 53 billion on UWU chain that's going to be bridged.
Yep. And so once the migration ends and there's a relaunch on Pump Fund, right? Because you have to basically collect all the UWU tokens on Sol, sell it, get that liquidity, and relaunch it onto Pump Fund. There will be, an additional supply that's reserved in the claims. We're going to release that to the Unicorn team, who's then going to distribute it to all of the UWU holders, the 53 billion across the native chain. They're going to go through their own process on doing that. So if you do have UWU on a chain that's not Solana, then you're going to need to reach out to them to make sure you go through their process. I believe they do have collected the majority of the addresses, but just because there's some complexity here, just make sure that you're talking with the UWU team to ensure that you're taken care of. And for and then just for the migration itself, right? It's going to launch in 2 weeks. There'll be probably a 2-week migration period. Once that migration period ends, then all of those tokens are sold for Sol, and then the token is relaunched on Pump Fund, and then there's a 90-day claim period. So those who migrated in the 2-week window can migrate 1-to-1 ratio. But if you miss the migration because you're on vacation or whatever it is, you're out of town, or you're just not really paying attention, you still can go and migrate during that claim period. So effectively, users have about 100 days to migrate their tokens. And realistically, what we see happen quite often is that the diehard community members, the ones who are kind of sticking around, right? We're at the kind of bottom of a bear market here. They are going to be the ones kind of leading the initiative, sharing about the migration. So you'll get, somewhere between 20 to 50, 60% of the tokens across in the initial migration period. But there's always going to be a percentage of the supply that people just are not paying attention. We've noticed people are generally checking the price daily, but a lot of people are not checking the news of the tokens that they're holding. So once you collect all those tokens and sell, and they see that the UWU chart goes down 50, 90%, all of those holders are going to come flooding back into the Telegram or Discord asking what happened. and then they'll late migrate. And at this point, we actually call migrations one of the biggest attention events, because over a 100-day period, you're basically going to get the attention of 90% of the token holders at some point during that time. And at that point, then that's where the strategy comes in from the teams to decide how you want to direct that attention. Is it just like a simple, hey, we migrated over? Is it or is it something more complex? Like, hey, here's a call to action, do XYZ things, or, read this article because this is where the vision of the new ecosystem is going, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think the call to action makes the most sense. I mean, that's what we're looking to do anyway. Just to point this out, and Jake, I think you did a great job explaining the supply and such. You'll retain the same percentage. So if you own 1%, you will still retain 1%, even though the supply of the token will be reduced. So I think that's important to point out.
Yep. Yeah. Just there's math that goes into it, right? Essentially, you're going down from a 69 billion supply to 1 billion, because pump is standardized to 1 billion. There's no ability to customize it or keep the same. So we do have that auto ratio system built in place. And we've added a kind of unique aspect for the unicorn migration. So that will all be taken care of. Essentially, it's just for the community. It's to spread awareness. It's to get as many people to migrate so that you could get as much liquidity as possible. And once you're relaunched and you're in the kind of pump ecosystem, there's going to be probably some excess Solana for the team to use as a reserve for, wherever the kind of direction of the community would like to go. Has the community discussed, or have you guys discussed kind of what the next steps would be? Let's say once we're done, a month from now, relaunched on Pump Fund, what's the new driven agenda or mission for Unicorn on Solana?
First of all, it's like spreading cuteness, accumulating users, marketing campaigns. We have a lot of good creators in the community. Just memeing, having fun. And if there's some secret plan, I wouldn't know about it. It's literally in the name. 1 billion market cap, and from there on we will launch.
It is destined. Chris, do you have any questions?
Not really any questions. Just, one of my favorite parts about Migrate Fund is that, we come across so many unique circumstances and so many unique teams that are in, really special parts of their lore that are looking, for some sort of edge to take it to the next step. And then, I wasn't really aware of the UU lore, wasn't really aware of your guys' story, but look how strong your community is, and look at how kind of perfect a migration would be, because the Solana blockchain was a natural fit for you guys anyways. So just always cool to see the unique propositions that continue to pop up, and happy to assist in getting these communities where they deserve to be.
I just want to point out that the unicorn community, I think it's very rare that you see a community that bonds and gets stronger around a mintable pool for 2 years on Solana.
Yeah, you guys might be like, max retard maxing, you know what I mean? You guys.
Cute maxing, sir. Cute maxing.
Cute maxing. Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
That migration, like Brew's point there, I think will remove a lot of that concern that some people will have. I mean, I don't know. I was buying it. Tokens mintable. It's just faith, trust, belief. But, having it no longer be mintable.
It's such a difficult product to shill, man, in a space.
You have to convince people that to just buy a mintable contract. Like that is, it's quite the task at hand. But you guys were able to do it. Not just you guys, but the community. So super funny edge cases all the way in crypto. But I'm sure that specific detail kind of made your community stronger in a funny roundabout way.
Yep.
100%.
Completely agree here. So once we migrate over, the interesting part with migrations, just kind of diving back into the platform itself, we've migrated 75 projects or so. I think actually Unicorn's going to be number 75 or 74. And they've all been across Solana. We're actually migrating the first ETH project to Solana. Bobo is migrating from ETH mainnet to Sol. So you guys are actually would be the second somewhat cross-chain migration, but in a little bit of a different way. We've been talking about this idea about meme coin migrations specifically because we've had a majority is infrastructure projects, and those migrations are a little bit more straightforward. It's a team who's managing it and saying, hey, we're moving over here because of XYZ things, kind of get with the program or there's going to be no token. And those are a little bit easier for communities to understand. With meme coins, we've seen a little bit of a different segmentation where some holders want to stay with the old coin, some holders want to stay with the new coin. But in your guys' situation, the old coin is shut down, right? There's no validator anymore. So everyone is now moving almost by force to this better ecosystem. And you're going to see a little bit of a better full alignment when it comes to migrating culture. And it's always something that we found pretty interesting is the memetic capabilities or maybe even sustainability of being able to move cross-chain. Pepe was really kind of the first one to do this, actually using Emblem Vault to trade rare Pepes on Ethereum in 2021. Right, taking the Bitcoin Pepe culture, importing it to or exporting it to Ethereum. And then obviously after that, you had the Pepe coin, and obviously Pepe now is on every chain in all types of different tokens. And so now moving, Unicorn from the Unicorn chain over to Solana, kind of can show those capabilities that the meme is not just segmented or, domiciled to one specific chain. You can actually take the vision and the ethos and move it anywhere that you need to be.
I mean, that's the original ethos of bringing these different chains and communities together as part of those airdrops. So I think it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it's exciting. Yeah, and you know that better than anyone. No regrets of Pepe and how successful that was. So if any community members, I know some people have requested, if you have any questions, feel free to come on stage. If it's just a question about migrations or unicorns or memes or anything of that nature, we're always available for conversation and for question, or you could just kind of shoot us a DM. Happy to answer kind of all of the questions here. For the Unicorn team, is there anything else specific from the, I guess, the migration or anything that you'd like to focus on? I guess maybe one thing for me was what happened with the post. Some people asked about this. You guys announced the migration and then the migration was kind of deleted and then reposted today. Maybe just adding some clarification on that, because I know some people may have been confused on what happened there.
So that was a member that had delegated access to the account that apparently flipped.
Went rogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It was an untrustful individual.
Yeah, that tends to happen from time to time.
Just more part of the lore. It should be corrected now, right?
Yeah, like always, and it's better it's happening now than later at 1 billion market cap. So
yeah, you could say unicorn to $1, right? That's the
oh yeah, that is destined. It's one of Elon Musk's death wishes, I think. On his bucket list.
That's
unicorn to $1. Yeah, I guess there's not really many other questions. We did a good job at kind of explaining it, which is awesome. Migrations, again, it'll be in about 2 weeks. Make sure that you bridge all of your tokens. If you have them, make sure you have them on Solana. Make sure you're ready to just migrate. The migration process is really simple. You could go to migrate.fun, and if you scroll, or if you go to the highlights inside of Migrate Fund's Twitter account, you'll see the tutorials, but we will have a tutorial available for the community. You honestly just go to Migrate Fund, you'll click on the Unicorn migration portal, and then you'll just click migrate and you're done. Literally takes 2 steps, 10 seconds. And then once the migration ends, in that migration window, you'll come back and basically claim the tokens when it relaunches. So you won't get the actual Unicorn token in 2 weeks. You get it in about a month when that migration period ends. And the reason why is that when you relaunch on Pump Fund and just any migration in general, you have to recover the liquidity from the old pool first before you could relaunch it. Because if you start handing out tokens before that LP is deployed, then somebody's just going to go set up a rogue LP and just completely manipulate the price, and it'll kind of ruin the whole thing. So those actual tokens are held until the initial migration window closes, and then the token is relaunched. So I know you'll get something called an MFT, which is called a Migrate Fund token. It's kind of just like a placeholder that you just sit there, and it's an on-chain asset that you use to redeem for the new tokens. Again, all the information will be there. We'll have plenty of tutorials out there, and Adam, Chris, or I are happy to always go into chats and talk with people. Or if you have any questions, feel free to just DM the Migrate Fund account. That's the only place we do ticket support. Be very careful. There are literally dozens of scammers out there who impersonate Migrate Fund employees. So all Migrate Fund employees have the Emblem Vault badge, like you see on this account that's talking. So please be careful, especially with the rise of DeFi exploits that are ongoing. People are figuring out very unique ways to trick people. It's not just like a phishing link anymore. Like some of these things are quite elevated in the schemes that they do. And we've seen some unfortunate situations with migration. So please be careful. There's only one website, migrate.fund. There's no other website to migrate, only one. And if you have any questions, always just DM the Migrate Fund account, or you could even just DM me, to be honest, or Chris, or any of the anybody with an Emblem Vault badge, and we'll be happy to direct you guys. So no regrets. Any other points maybe that we missed in terms of Unicorn or migrations, or just anything else that we should cover? Or Brew, either or.
Did we lose audio?
Yeah, I was like, is this?
Oh, damn. Was I muted? Dang.
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
You said if you have any questions, you can DM us.
Okay,
That's
damn. It's crazy. That just like muted me for some reason. Basically, yeah, if you guys have any questions, DM the Migrate Fund account. The all official employees have an Emblem Vault badge, like you see with the account that's talking. There are lots of scammers out there that impersonate Migrate Fund employees or send fake links. You can only migrate on migrate.fund. There's nothing else in between then. If you have any questions, DM the Migrate Fund account or myself. Just be very careful. There's a lot of, as we see with DeFi, there's a new exploit or multiple exploits per day. We're also seeing an increase in various social engineering schemes that people try to do across all different types of protocols and impersonations. So please just be careful when look for official posts from the Unicorn and Memes account or the Migrate Fund account. And we only do ticket support in Twitter. We do that specifically because ticket support on Telegram is just rife with bad actors, and you can delete your messages and such. So we've noticed that if you just do ticket support through the official Twitter account, it eliminates like 90% of the bad actors, because there's a account to verify against that. So once that migration portal is live, just make sure it's on migrate.fund. There's only one website to do that. And when the migration takes place, you'll be given something called an MFT, which is a migration fund token. It's like a placeholder. You'll hold on to that. And when the migration ends, you'll turn that in for the UU that is relaunched on Pump Fund. The reason why we have the placeholder is so that you don't hand out these the official token without an LP, because rogue actors will go set up in their own LP and they'll just basically nuke the entire thing. So there's a whole procedure in place. We've done 75 migrations, and I know it's a little confusing, but we will have tutorials out for everyone. Once the migration goes live, wait 10 minutes and we'll have a tutorial that's posted for everyone. So please, I know a lot of people have used Migrate Fund. There's been over 25,000 wallets that have done at least one migration since we launched the platform. So it's been pretty battle tested, but the process is very new. Migrate Fund's the first migrations protocol that's really ever existed. Migrations have existed since the beginning of crypto, really, since probably 2012, 2013. But this is the first protocol that really helps automate it, especially for situations like this and kind of unique stuff.
I hate to be a stickler, but
Sure.
migrations have existed for hundreds of thousands of years, my
Yep.
good man.
It's a human nature to move. It's human.
Yeah,
It's human nature to move.
All it takes.
Yeah. it's-
yeah. And as soon as we have new tools to migrate, it goes faster and in all kind of different layers and directions.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's actually when we started Migrate Fun back in October, there was a lot of, I guess you would say, FUD and hate for this idea of allowing projects to kind of move around. Some of the launch pads and AMMs kind of came at us as saying we're breaking the casino, right? We're allowing lock liquidity to leave and move, which you know, affects the bottom line of a lot of these platforms. They're all actually partners now, or at least most of them. And then from the other side, the repeat like traders were a little bit upset because they didn't want to trade the token, or they felt like they were losing out, or whatever the situation is. But the acceptance towards migrations has now come kind of full circle. And we've seen some other platforms say they're going to launch a migration tool. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any other platform really do that effectively. But we do welcome them, because at the end of the day, what do humans do? Humans move. Humans migrate, they immigrate, they emigrate to all different areas. And just the ability, or just the even idea that you can move this liquidity to different ecosystems, as long as the community, you know, the majority of the community participates in that. It's a voting mechanism, I guess, by your dollars, but also kind of with your virtual feet in this capacity.
Solid.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can wrap it up here. If there's no other questions or no other things to kind of to cover here, maybe we'll do another spaces in 2 weeks once the official migration is live, to continue to raise awareness. But we're excited to work with the Unicorn team, Unicorn community, I should say, even more than the team itself. Appreciate you, Brew, and no regrets. It's awesome to connect as always. And again, if anyone, please, any question, no matter if it's a migration, unicorns, whatever, just please reach out to us. We're happy to help. And
Yo, I have a question.
Yeah.
What's your social security number?
what's my mother's
kidding.
my great grandmother's maiden name?
Yeah, exactly.
Street that I grew up on. What was your first dog's name?
On the topic of social engineering, I'm just kidding.
Jake,
I
thanks.
appreciate that.
Go ahead, Brewer. Sorry.
I just want to say I appreciate the time you guys have taken to create the space and come and explain all the finesses of migrating.
Yeah, absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, Jake, thanks for hosting this. And, you know, the goal here is obviously to be as transparent as possible. Emblem and Migrate team are excellent folks to work with. So really excited about this, and thanks for having us here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to work with the community as well. It's really rewarding having or helping teams really move and have this fresh relaunch. So until then, we'll continue to hang out. Again, any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're always available and terminally online 24/7. Until then, share the unicorn love, spread the memes, and we'll see you guys really soon.
Later.